everybody, welcome back to Home Gym Hacks and Reviews. Today I want to show you what I do for lower back health. So this includes exercises I do for prehab, rehab, strength training exercises I avoid, and strength training exercises I do. I'll show you a couple of hacks that I've picked up along the way to make exercises work for me. So I start every morning by hanging out with these greyhounds. These are two rescues from Florida. They are retired racers, and as you can see, they're pretty chill dogs, and they're a great way to start any and every day. Here's a close-up of these two. This is the girl, her name is Fiona, and here's the boy, this is Rhyme. First up, I'll start with cat camels. And I'll do this for 30 seconds to a minute. This is just a light stretch in each position. And then I'll move on to the McGill Big 3. The first one is a curl up, and I only raise my head off the ground about an inch. And I continue to breathe while I'm doing these holds. I can manipulate some of these variables, but typically I'll go 8 reps, rest, 6 reps, rest, 4 reps, rest, and I'll hold each rep for 8 to 10 seconds. Next up, I'll move into the side plank, and I can hold this for 8 to 10 seconds. This will work the obliques. I can rest. I can add a second set. And then of course do the other side of the body. Hold for 8 to 10 seconds. Rest. Second set, 8 to 10 seconds. And then I'll move on to the bird dog. And I'm using opposition here, so if my right hand raises, my left leg raises. And I can use a similar rep scheme and rep count as I did with the curl up. If you want more information as to why I do the big 3, you can check out Dr. Aaron of Squat University's book, Rebuilding Milo. He goes into quite a bit more depth than what I did just there. Next up, on lower body days, I'll do a couple of minutes on the Rogue Echo bike. This does a great job of getting my heart rate up and warming up muscles that are involved in my lower body exercises. Next up, I'll do 2 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions on the Powertec Hyperextension crunch bench. Before I had this, I used the Titan. Now that I have this piece, I basically use this exclusively. So to do this exercise, I drive my hips into the pads. I make this a hip dominant movement, so the contraction comes from my glutes and hamstrings, definitely more than my lower back. Next, I move on to the Titan Fitness H-PND, and I perform 1 to 2 sets of 12 to 20 repetitions of the reverse hyper exercise. I'll start off with 2 legs. Maybe for 1 set, I'll drive my heels together. And then for the second set, I'll separate my heels to get more glute engagement. And if I have time, I may do 10 to 12 repetitions of 1 leg at a time. Before I get into the meat and potatoes portion of my lower body workout, I'll do a warm-up set of leg extensions and leg curls with light weight, maybe 15 to 20 repetitions, just to get some blood into the muscle. When performing the leg curl, try to keep your pelvis pressed against the pad rather than raising up like this. So my training style is largely influenced by Dante Trudel's DC training system. So I start with calves, and then I'll move on to hamstrings, and then I'll finish with quads. And I have 3 different exercises that I cycle for each of my lower body days. So today it's the leg press calf exercise, and then I'll move on to the leg curl prone, and then I'll move on to the Powertec leg press. On another day, it's the compact leg sled, and on another day, it's the Rogue Rhino. So I'm gonna start with the Powertec leg press calf, just a few warm-up sets, and then I'll move on to my 2 heavy sets. Now, unlike DC, I don't do the rest pauses nowadays. It's just too taxing, and I like to train more regularly than what DC recommends. So let's get to it. For my calf exercises, I contract, I lower slowly, and I get a deep stretch. Now it's time for my first heavy work set. Last time I got 8 45s 12 times, so today I'm doing an additional 10 pounds on the leg press. So my goal is to beat 12 or at least tie it, and if I don't, I might give this exercise 1 more chance, and if I fail that next time, then it will be time to swap this calf exercise out for a different calf exercise. I want to emphasize how much that lower back routine from Dr. Aaron of Squat University has helped my lower back. Doing it every morning has made a big difference. And then, in addition to that, using the reverse hyper and the hip extension bench has helped tremendously. I have never tweaked or injured my back in a day-to-day activity. It's always from something that I do in the gym. So over the years, I've learned what to do and what not to do. But my original back injury came from bottoming out on a hack squat, and since then I have to be very cautious in the gym. I also had a pretty significant lower back injury when I was trying to pick up the 100-pound dumbbells to get in place for a chest press, and I had an injury doing the T-bar row. When I injure my lower back, my pain is localized just below my belt line, and it is debilitating. I have a lot of trouble walking, I have trouble sleeping, and it will normally knock me out of commission for about a week or two. On my first set, I got 16 repetitions, which is 4 better than I got last time. But when I do this exercise again, when it cycles back around, I won't do anything crazy. Although I did beat my score by quite a bit, I won't jump up 50 pounds. I'll just be very sequential in the way that I do this. And next time this exercise comes around, I'll just raise it up by 5 or 10 pounds. I rested for about a minute, and now I'm gonna do my second set at the exact same weight. I won't play these calf sets the whole way through because they're kind of boring to watch, but I do want to say that I am not a doctor or a physical therapist. I cannot diagnose or treat any condition, so if you are experiencing major back pain, I would highly recommend going to a doctor. I'm just showing you what I do to help alleviate lower back pain, and if I do suffer any type of a lower back injury, this is how I get back and up and running really quickly. Also, for me, it's really important to avoid certain exercises. I do not do a barbell squat anymore, although I did back in the day. I don't do a straight bar deadlift. I don't do a standing barbell bent over row. Those exercises just aggravate my lower back, and the risk is not worth the reward. I hit my goal on my second set of calves. Now it's time for my third and final set for calves. So I've lightened the weight, and now I'm going to do the movement a little more explosively, and I'm going to go for a higher rep count. The calves can handle this volume and this intensity, so I'm not worried about overtraining or anything like that. I hit my goal for my back offset, so next time this exercise cycles around, I'll try to get that same rep count, but I'll increase my weight by 5 or 10 pounds. Now I'm just going to stretch my calves out a little bit more. I found that when I do leg press movements and squat movements, it really helps to have my calves and ankles stretched out, just so I don't compromise form as I get a full range of movement. And Dante Trudel, in his training program, DC, he has something called extreme stretching. So that's kind of where this comes from. Next, I'm moving on to my hamstring exercise. And as I mentioned, I have 3 different hamstring exercises that I cycle through the course of this blast, as it's called in DC training. So one day, it's the prone leg curl. Another day, it's the Titan Fitness seated leg curl. And on another day, it's the hip extension. So I'm just warming up with 10 to 12 repetitions. Now it's time for my first work set. I know exactly what I did last time. So last time I did 57.5 pounds. Today I'm doing 60 pounds, and I need to either tie or beat 14 repetitions. Everything is slow and controlled. I hit my goal on my first set. I rested a couple of minutes. Now it's time to take on my second set. I've got to get 9 repetitions. I hit my goal of 9 repetitions on my second set. So the next time this exercise cycles back around, I'll increase the weight by 2.5 pounds and I'll try to hit 14 reps on my first set or better and 9 reps on my second set or better. Now I'm gonna do a back off set where I'm only doing one leg at a time. And my goal is 25 pounds, 9 or more repetitions. I always start with my weak leg first. Next, I stretch each hamstring for about 60 seconds to a position of mild discomfort, and I hold it. So this is a static stretch. Breathing the whole time. Just make sure you don't hold your breath if you follow anything like I'm doing. Once that position feels comfortable, I'll push it a little bit farther, and then I'll hold in my new position. And then once that position starts to feel comfortable, I'll push it a little bit farther. Again, this is about a 60-second stretch for each leg. Now it's time for my quad exercise, and I'm starting off with a few warm-up sets. Also, you may notice with the Powertec Leg Press, I removed the back pad adjustment. I have found that my back needs to be lower rather than at a 45-degree angle to alleviate and eliminate back pain that I would normally experience when I do any type of a leg press. Now it's time for my first work set, 8 45s and 2 25s, so hopefully I'll hit my goal so I can keep this exercise in the rotation. So I hit my goal, 10 repetitions. Now I'll rest a couple of minutes. I'll add a little bit of weight to this and I'll do my second set. For my second set, I put on an additional 50 pounds, and with the weight of the carriage, this is 520 pounds. Sometimes it's a little bit easier on my joints if I go all the way down, pause, and then push back up, but it does make the exercise significantly harder. I just rested for a couple of minutes. Now it's time for what in DC training is called the Widowmaker set. I've backed off. So this set is actually 350 pounds, and I am going to shoot for 20 or more repetitions. So this is why I saved this exercise for the very end of the workout, because by the time I finish this, there's really nothing left in the tank. And I'll move this one a little more explosively than I did the heavier sets. Take a couple of breaths, try to itch out a few more repetitions. And 30 is good for me. And to finish, now that my quads are stretched out and maxed out, I do like to get a little blood flow into them at the very end, so I'll finish with some high rep leg extensions. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope what I do for lower back prehab, rehab, as well as exercises I avoid and exercises I include to make sure I don't aggravate my back was helpful to you. As Bruce Lee said, take what's useful, disregard what's not. I really appreciate you watching. Take care, everyone.